it's actually kind of funny and at some point maybe ironic that the track Breakthrough was my breakthrough.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's all because of SoundMojo. I mean, it's been a huge influence on my audience, especially on Apple Music and Spotify. I just woke up one day and that song just got a huge amount of streams over the night, and that's all because of SoundMojo.
We're back. It's episode number 40 of Innersleeve right here on SoundMojo. I'm Cassius Morris, Frank Pavan and Joe Pacheco, my co-hosts, joining me as always. What's up, guys?
Favorite time of the week.
Absolutely.
Favorite time of the week, Innersleeve time. And speaking of course, Innersleeve, and I got to do my speaking of transitions because that's the best way to transition.
That's the best.
We have a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, we have the merchandise on sale right now, which Joe continues to rock, looking tremendous, if I may say so.
I just don't know my left from my right.
I've got mine on as well.
I just don't know my left from my right on camera. That's so weird. I feel like Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, they don't know what to do with your hands.
And I have my SoundMojo tattoo, so the trifecta is completed. You just can't see my representation at the moment. But I know you wanted to mention some stuff about some polls we've been running in Comms Tab also, Joe.
Yeah, it's an interesting one I posted Monday morning, which I thought was interesting. Anyways, it's SoundMojo related, so I'm gonna start polling the audience to figure out what do you guys like, what don't you like, what do you want to hear more of, So at SoundMojo we love music, period, right? So we feature artists from different genres from all over the world. So we'd like to know what the audience thought, and we asked, do you want us to continue the variety of artists, or do you want us to focus down on a specific genre, rock, metal, hip hop, whatever it may be? And a resounding 53 votes as of this time. It's not huge, but 53 votes. It's 94% where people love the variety of artists and music. So that was a bit surprising.
Hey, that's what they came and subscribed for, right? I mean, if you just pay any close attention to the channel, if you're just scrolling through it, you understand that there's a wide selection of artists and genres. So that's what they subscribed for, so I understand it.
It's funny because the first comment here was the variety of music and artists is what makes SoundMojo great. So thank you very much.
I believe it.
It's good that that's being recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool because I was like, okay, maybe it's time to niche down, maybe it's time to figure stuff out. But if people are appreciating the variety, I'm all for it because that's what I love.
You gotta respect the audience for sticking to what they came here for.
Yeah. Another one I had here
you have another one? Okay.
Yeah, just one more I wanted to, what would you do, if you could, let's see what you guys would answer on this. If you could do only one, would you rather be the writer or the performer of a hit song?
For me personally, a writer.
Okay, you, Frankie?
Well, the writers legit get no spotlight. So if you're one of those people who like being on the back end of things and not getting that spotlight attention, those cameras flash in front of you, then go for it. I've definitely been that way in my life, so I will go writer, not performer.
Awesome.
I like that, myself.
Why do you like that, Cassius? Why do you like that?
I think that, look at it this way. If you write a hit song and it's your only hit, the artist can be seen as a one-hit wonder, but since the writer isn't really in question, it really doesn't make a difference. And if you have a hit, you could probably get scrape by writing lesser hits, and no one would think anything of it.
Yep, that's true.
Fair enough.
First phase of my life, I was all performer, and then second phase of my life is I'd rather be a writer, comfortable, make a ton of money, and no one bothers you walking down the street and all that stuff, right? So,
exactly.
Anyways, the poll had 92 votes and 71% writer. So that was interesting.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah,
Great sound minds think alike, my friends. That's the reason that we have this connection here. So it's good to know that we're on the same page.
By the way, I just wanted to mention something off the top. A quick shout out to all those on the audio listening platforms, being Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, all that. It's been received well. I don't know. I've been happy to see that audience is growing. And as always, as we say every episode, for those of you on the audio platforms who want to see a bit more content on a weekly basis, come on over to SoundMojo, the actual YouTube channel, of course, and subscribe there and enjoy the different music, the variety, right, Joe, of music that we have on the channel. So that's it. That's my little plug there. I want to say thanks to those listening and watching. So, but what let's get into the nuts and bolts here. I don't know, Joe, if you had another one. Did you have another poll, or do you want to? Let's move on, Cassius.
I have endless polls, but
in the story meeting this morning, Cassius hit us with a couple topical news stories around in the world of music. So hit us.
Yes, so let's bounce over to New York City here. Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, has made news in a bit of a funny story. He was coming outside of his New York City hotel just yesterday, and he was actually seen charging fans for autographs. So if you can see in the video via TMZ, I think, was the highest bidder $40, Joe?
I think that's what it was. Someone offered $40.
Which is quite a bargain if you're really thinking about it. But what do you guys think about charging for autographs outside of a hotel? Kind of on the borderline, don't you think?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I still can't tell if this is a joke or if this is for real. Like,
yeah, I mean, if he took the money, I think it's real.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I personally, I wouldn't pay for an autograph unless it was like, I don't know, something like you could take away with you, like it's nicely framed or something or whatever. But like, it just right then and there, I don't think so, man. I'm not that.
So he came out of his hotel.
Yeah.
Fans are waiting for him with whatever they want to be signed, and he's telling them, "You got to pay me."
Pretty much. I think the one guy was holding $20, and that may have sparked it. But the guys had cash ready.
In a joking way? I mean, I don't know if you could pick that up.
That's what we're trying to figure out, I think. He seems to be joking, but at the same time, he has cash in his hand. Maybe the camera cut and he gave the cash back. I know Ted Nugent made big news for this because he was actually charging a couple $100, and he was debating people saying, you're going to sell this on eBay for more. So I don't know. I guess we can leave this one up to the viewers. Would you pay for an autograph if you saw your favorite celebrity and they try to charge you on the spot? Not a Comic-Con, something like that, in person. Definitely controversial.
That's so funny though, right? Like when you think about it, fans of anything pay for their band or sports team or whatever through tickets, through signed jerseys, through whatever. So what's the difference if it's just asked live in front of you?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's just funny when it's actually done live in front of you. People are like, hey, should I be being charged for this? But I don't agree with it. Obviously, I think that if you're waiting in line wherever they are, you shouldn't be told up front, oh, you got to pay for this all of a sudden. But it's just funny.
Usually,
I don't know.
Usually that's like a meet and greet kind of thing, like if you're meeting them after the show or whatever. But if you just happen to run into the guy, let's say at a diner or you're ordering something and you run into someone, maybe I could buy you your coffee or something, but I don't know if I'd give you like $40 for a signature.
Without context, I'm sure we're missing a bit of context here, so we don't know if it was a joke or not.
Sure.
But if it was not a joke, there's a bit of a sense of entitlement there. There's a bit of something going on.
It says here, Taylor jokingly tried to school guitarist Pat Smear on the art of the deal too, saying he needs some help. He wasn't charging. I think he was just signing. Anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Classic. I guess to each their own when they're in that position.
That's it, yeah.
Now, this is cool. For all my 90s music lovers out there, you guys are probably already jumping for joy like it's Christmas, and you probably already have tickets. The Fugees have just announced a reunion tour. They're going to be getting back together, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, and Pras Michael, for their first show in 15 years. And this is crazy. They're starting the tour over in New York City. Any Fugees love here from anybody but me? I know that they had a couple hits.
Yeah. No, I'm not like a huge lover, but I mean, you could not avoid it at the time. And we got like a couple of really good like solo albums and careers out of that, like when it broke up, but like Lauryn Hill obviously and Wyclef. But no, this is definitely good one for the fans. I'm happy that because she was missing in action for so long, nobody knew where she was, but she made an exception for this one because of the fans' 25th anniversary and stuff. So interesting.
Yeah, her last release was 2020, where she put out an album that was recorded live in the 90s. And since then, basically only seen for tax evasion when she was arrested and appearing at a Nicki Minaj show, I believe. But this is really cool. Lauryn Hill, by the way, one of the most successful female singers ever, off just one solo studio album, selling over 437,000 copies in the first week. So definitely good to see Lauryn Hill back doing her thing.
That's when albums sold, right?
Yes, that's when albums really sold too, which actually makes it better. This last story, a little bit on the goofy side. I guess we saved the goofy for last.
I don't think it's goofy.
You don't think it's goofy?
I think it's just par for the course with this guy, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense, actually. I guess when you look at it that way. Machine Gun Kelly is in yet another beef with a fellow celebrity. This time, taking fire at Corey Taylor of Slipknot. Now, a little bit of backstory for this. It looks like they started off trying to do a song together, and through the negotiation of this song, it disintegrated. They decided not to do it, and now they're taking shots at each other. So Kelly went on to Twitter. He says, Corey did a verse for my song. It was effing terrible, so I didn't use it. He got mad about it and talked shit to a magazine. Just admit that he's bitter. Corey circles around and says on Twitter, I don't like people airing private shit like a child. So this is all I'll say. I didn't do the track because I don't like it when people try to write for me. And I said no. Going as far as posting the emails between himself and Machine Gun Kelly. Guys, what do you make of this?
From what I just heard, like, I'm with Corey, because, like, what's the point of putting stuff in the public when you're just trying to, create collaborates or do stuff together? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Move on, But maybe, Conor McGregor wasn't enough for him. Maybe Eminem wasn't enough for him. He's using this to stay in the spotlight kind of thing,
I don't even think he needs to do these things to stay in the spotlight. I think he's pretty much a mainstream guy now, especially like how he and Megan Fox are portraying their relationship, his music, like being one of his most recent album gaining a lot of traction and winning awards. Like, I don't think he needs this to remain in the spotlight. And that's where I fall back on. That's where I begin to think, okay, is this guy actually this miserable that this is him? Is this him? Is this just someone who stirs shit and looks for fights and looks for conflict? Or is it really like fake? Is it like a scripted reality show? Like, is this just, behind closed doors, there's that text message or handshake that, like, yeah, I'm just going to do this to stir the media and then we'll be good behind the closed doors. Like, that's what I'm more confused on. Is this really MGK? Because like you said, Joe, he had the Eminem beef through the back and forth of their albums or whatnot, songs at least. Then he got into it with McGregor. Right I forget.
Well, to me, it looked like McGregor got into it with him.
It does,
and
but
I was
you never
kind
know
of on his side
with MGK's personality. You never know what he might have said or whatnot. Even though McGregor is a hothead in his own right, but like what I fell back on is this really MGK? Does he look for this type of stuff, or is it? Is it just scripted? Is it fake?
The thing is, he did it live, right? Because it was taped from fan taped it, right? And he did it live while Slipknot was playing on another stage.
Right, he was across the stage at a festival, I think he said something like, the last thing I want to be doing is being 50 years old wearing a mask, which is pretty funny. But you raise a great point, Frank. I mean, very successful. I think he's been climbing for a number of years now. And let's be honest, guys, Megan Fox hasn't been on the red carpet. I didn't see her on the red carpet before this. It may even be arguable that he brought Megan Fox back into the mainstream, because I haven't heard of her since she started dating him. So definitely fair point, and curious to see where he's going to go with this. But Corey Taylor handling it quite well. In the email that he posted, he said, nothing personal. I just think if this is what Machine Gun Kelly is looking for, someone else is the guy to do it. Exactly. And he wished him well. So I'm with you, Joe. I'm team Corey Taylor for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like out of left field.
It's just Corey's like proven himself time and time again. Doesn't need this guy. If anything, it'll give maybe another generation of who's a Slipknot, and rediscover Slipknot.
True.
So
I guess we are getting to that point. It's been a number of years. So I know we have some trivia before we jump into the podcast, and some on this day.
Oh yes, by the way, we didn't mention this at the top of the episode, but this week's guest is SoundMojo artist Zanoii.
I was literally thinking that at the same time.
You were thinking that at the exact same time as me. Yeah. So Zanoii has been an artist with SoundMojo almost since the beginning, right, Joe?
Yeah, like definitely one of the first. Not the first. I always say that one of the first, but he's definitely like in the the first 10 or so. First
a
EDM,
Norwegian-born DJ who is quite an inspiration and has a killer work ethic. So we'll get into that episode shortly. I do have a few more things to bring up to you guys, one being music trivia. So here we go. You guys ready for a little game?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Of course, we do this on a weekly basis for those listening, and I kind of just pose questions to Joe and Cassius, see if they could pass the test or not. So, number one, in 2011, 10 years ago, which music superstar launched her own social media website? Now, I'm also cutting the options in half because I actually gave you a her.
Yeah, I would venture a guess as Lady Gaga.
Cassius?
if I have to guess, yeah, Lady Gaga. That's a pretty good guess, Joe. I don't think I can top that.
The only reason why I say that is because the Little Monsters, she used to call her fan base Little Monsters. So I don't know. I figured something with
That's
that.
exactly it, Joe. You are spot on. Bang. 1 for 1.
That article, that one article I read in 2013 is still serving me today.
I was gonna
8
thinking
years.
Kim Kardashian, but then I'm thinking music. So
Yeah. No. Let's not put them there. Not put them there. Number 2. Which artist or artists did U.S. President George W. Bush once call the biggest threat to American youth since polio?
Oh, I know this one.
Which artist did U.S. President George W. Bush once call the biggest threat to American youth since polio?
Marilyn Manson.
Oh, I think that's a good.
That's a common
Manson.
one brought up by the news and such at that time.
Okay. Joe, do you have your own guess, or you sticking
I'm
with
thinking
Cassius?
because George W. Bush, right? The second one, not the father. So
No,
I
of
don't
course,
know.
yeah.
Man. I know this, and I'm gonna punch myself, but I think Manson's a good guess.
Okay. Eminem is the
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's
So I feel like
yeah.
this question was worded with an optional S at the end. I don't know if this comment from George W. Bush came up. I don't know what year first of all it came up in, but it could be during the D12 years, because that was some pretty aggressive and vile lyrics in there.
I think it was right around that time, and he dropped the Eminem Show, which the first song is basically saying "F you, George Bush, F you, Gore, F everybody." So that must have been a reaction. Yeah, that was around the D12 days. So that makes a lot of sense. And actually, just a little anecdote: Eminem and Marilyn Manson teamed up around that time on stage.
Oh.
So just a little anecdote.
Look at that. All right, so yeah, Eminem, very interesting one. I felt one. We'll give you guys 1 for 2. So we're 1 for 2 so far. Heading into question 3, which famous American pop singer was actually born in the state of Hawaii?
Famous American pop singer. Hold on.
Born in the state of Hawaii. Pop singer?
Pop singer, still in the mainstream today. Plays his own instruments, is very multi-talented.
Okay, so we know it's a his. Thanks.
I gave you that. It's true, that leaked
Thanks for
through.
that one. Narrowed it down.
I wouldn't have noticed unless you guys kept pointing it out. I'm honestly stumped at this point. Is Barack Obama a pop singer? No. That's the only Hawaii person I can think of.
I was thinking Dwayne The Rock, but I think I may be wrong. It's not Hawaii.
I mean, he's not a pop singer.
You got me stumped,
No, I know. That's
Frank.
what I'm saying. I know.
It's Bruno Mars.
Okay, I definitely knew that.
Yeah, that makes sense. You should have
Jeez.
said
Now
like
that the-
fantastic singer. No, I'm joking.
Now let's do another take where I get it right, and then we'll.
Yeah,
Oh wait, we're still
that's
recording.
it.
No, I'm just joking.
Edit.
Right. So
Oh,
one
man.
1 for 3. Yeah, that one just burns when you hear that name, doesn't it? Because it's a bit obvious. Number 4. This musician is often referred to as the 5th Beatle.
Oh, George Martin.
Okay. Who?
I think
George
it's the producer, George Martin. Is it George Martin? No, I'm drawing a blank, but I think I would say the producer.
Okay.
Either him or I did hear that Paul McCartney made the similar statement about Kendrick Lamar, but I don't know if this was after or before. So I have to just say Kendrick Lamar. I don't know.
I would have been shocked if that was the answer. So I'm just going to tell you that's no. That's a no. Joe, you're not right.
Oh,
Sorry to break it to you. Pete Best.
Oh, come
Does
on. I
that
was going to
name-
say that, but I couldn't have
that
thought
name
that
ring a
would be
bell?
right.
Pete Best. He acted as the band's drummer from 1960 to 1962 until Ringo Starr took over.
I thought that was too easy of an answer. Damn it. God.
Come on, man. You gotta
But
trust your gut.
I do know that the producer, they often refer to him as the 5th Beatle because of how influential he was and got them to dig those performances and all that stuff. But okay. I'll
Okay,
take
so
that.
maybe.
No, I
maybe
was
I'm
wrong. I was
don't
wrong.
know.
Okay, cool.
Okay, number 5. So ever since question 1, guys, not too hot. Let's see if you can recover here with the correct answer on the last question. Which iconic songstress actually grew up on a Christmas tree farm?
Oh, man.
Iconic song.
What is that?
Christmas Tree Farm.
Okay. Who's
Was it a country or
Christmassy?
pop, if I may ask?
Does both.
Oh, even worse.
But it's a female.
Yep.
For some reason, I was just hit me. I don't know. I just Dolly Parton came in my head, but not sure about that.
That would be a good guess.
Liza Minnelli.
No good.
She's like a Southern belle, but she's like mainstream now.
Oh, Taylor Swift. No.
There you go.
Oh.
It is Taylor Swift. Well, that doesn't count because I already guessed, I guess. But
At least I got the right genre of music.
Because you said country and pop. I'm like, I think she does both, right? Like,
so really
Right.
from humble beginnings, though, Taylor Swift. That's interesting.
Her father owned a Christmas tree farm in the state of Pennsylvania when they grew up. So
God, I would hate to be on actual Jeopardy. I'm even failing at music Jeopardy. This is this is brutal for the ego, guys.
I like being on. I like being
anyways,
on the other side.
this one was fun. There was a few playful questions. I got a good reaction out of you guys. We'll skip right to on this day. Okay, I got 3 interesting ones here. Okay, so today being, of course, Friday, September 24th, we're bringing you back to 1957. The Elvis Presley classic Jailhouse Rock was released on this day in 1957. It became his 9th U.S. #1 single and stayed on the Billboard chart for 19 weeks. The film clip from the movie where he sang the song is considered by many historians to be the first rock video. Pretty
major rock history going on. Yeah, I mean, listen, hard to argue with Elvis, Chuck Berry. There's a couple guys, Bo Diddley. That's the foundation, man. So it's incredible to look. We got to keep that history at the forefront of our minds here.
Yeah.
Little Richards,
Joe, any
too.
comments on that?
No, Little Richards too. Just to add on to what people that were rock inspiring, Little Richards with the piano, Jerry Lee Lewis, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So sticking to rock, however, rock had evolved a little bit up until there. 24th of September, 1966. Actually, not just 9 years after this Elvis Presley on this day, Jimi Hendrix arrived in London with manager, Chas. Was that his manager?
Chandler?
Chas. Chandler. Maybe that was a typo on my end. I apologize. On a flight from New York City. So he arrived at London from New York City with only the clothes he was wearing. Hendrix had sold his other belongings to pay a hotel bill in New York. One of the first things he did after arriving in England was to legally change his name from James to Jimmy. Didn't know that. That he got a name change in England.
I didn't know that at all. And I mean, that's dedication to not just use the name, but to actually change the name. I guess he was committed.
Was it illegal in the United States in the 60s?
I'm not sure, but that
should have done that research.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. But I mean, I often wonder this. Do you guys think that Jimi Hendrix could have in any reality anticipated his impact? Because I was just at the barbershop recently and I saw a massive mural of him. And I was thinking, I wonder if he ever thought he would have this big of an impact still to this day.
I don't think any I'm just going out blanket statement here, but I don't think any Jimi Hendrix or iconic figure really like Bob Marley would realize the effect today that he had, except for Kanye West. Kanye West is the only one who's known from day one that he was the best.
I knew before I was born.
He knew before he was making music that he was the greatest artist in his mind.
So what was your question again, Cassius? Let me get into that.
But do you think and this goes for Kurt Cobain or any of those guys, Jim Morrison, do you think they could have anticipated just how far this would take their legacy? Because they're still talked about.
I don't think so. I don't think that's within a reach.
I think the fact of their death is what makes it even more like a young death or a tragic death, right? Or a suicide, unfortunately, in the case of Nirvana. But I think that also adds fuel to the fire of the It's
actually funny. It's actually funny. Yeah, definitely. Dying at a younger age definitely fuels that and propels that artist or actor.
You have
whoever.
Randy Rhoads, right, who died very young on a plane, crash. Then you have, let's say, Dimebag Darrell from Pantera, who got shot on stage. So those things make it a little. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, good question though, Cassius. Last one. Funny enough, we've mentioned people who died young. Elvis being one of them. Jimi Hendrix being another. This last on this day. 24th of September 1991, Nirvana's album Nevermind was released in America, entering the chart at number 144 on its first week, the album which peaked at number 1 in January 1992. has now sold over 30 million copies worldwide. The idea for the new... This one's interesting. The idea for the new iconic front cover shot of the baby swimming came after Kurt Cobain and drummer Dave Grohl saw a TV documentary series on water babies.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I bet they're wishing they wouldn't have done that cover now with all the crap
it wouldn't
that's been
fly
going
now.
on.
Yeah,
exactly. And now with that guy trying to come back and sue them,
That's
the baby
That's
on the cover,
How funny is that? Yeah.
which
guy
is
who grew up
ridiculous.
is
I
like,
think
yeah.
we should save that for another episode.
Yeah.
But man, is there a more universally beloved rock song or album? Is my question. Because even people who never listen to rock, Smells Like Teen Spirit comes on the radio, they're cranking it up. You know, do you guys think this is it, or do you think like Welcome to the Jungle or AC/DC, like stuff like that, is more beloved?
I think so.
It's different eras, though. You know, it's tough to compare. But you don't think so, Joe? You don't?
No,
think so?
I don't know.
It's up there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember the impact it had on me, like when it came out. But I mean, like there's, Enter
I think
Sandman
like we are the
riff,
champions.
It's
pretty,
you
that's
know what I
gotta be
mean?
up
Like,
there.
We Are
It's
the
too hard
Champions,
to-
absolutely. A lot of the Queen stuff, actually. Even We Will
Yeah.
Rock You, all that
We Will Rock
rally.
You.
It seems like anything that's like a rallying cry or chant does it. Well, that's amazing. 30 million copies. Shout out Nirvana. What can we say to that?
So that's it. We've gone through music trivia. We've gone through On This Day. We've gone through some of the earlier topics that were at the top of the episode. Boys, I think we could segue on into our interview with Jonas, aka Zanoii, on this week's episode of Innersleeve. Enjoy. We are joined today by Norwegian DJ and featured SoundMojo artist Zanoii. Zanoii, Jonas, for those listening, that is your real name. Jonas, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. Joe, as always, he's always on the show, so I kind of skipped over you. Joe, you doing well?
No, I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man. I'm so glad to see Jonas or Zanoii, as you said here, because he's one of the early adopters of the SoundMojo and the collaborating with SoundMojo. And especially like probably the first, I'd say EDM-ish, EDM kind of like artist. And I remember from Breakthrough, I made just a quick little video with some stock footage, and like it took off, and like the audience, the audience appreciated it, and it's been doing good ever since. And like, I just took stock of today, and I'm still behind because this guy is a beast. Like he must produce songs every 5 minutes or something, because he's always got something new to go. I'm like, dude, I can't keep up.
So Ashley, let's get into that, Ashley.
Yeah.
Jonas, like, does producing and creating music come easily to you?
Well, the creative process fairly easily. I have writer's block like once or twice since I began like 3 years ago, but for most part, melodies, it's so natural to me. But finishing tracks and mixing them properly, that's a complete different story.
Yeah, and do you do your own mixing and everything, right? I assume?
Yes, I do. Sometimes I send the tracks away for mastering, but that's about it. Yeah, I do all the mixing myself.
And how many years running now have you been doing this yourself?
I mean, since I got Logic Pro, that's when I like set the starting point, and that's almost 3 years ago. So 2 years and 10 months, I think.
It's not bad because like it's 2 years almost you've been on SoundMojo. So yeah, you got on pretty quick. And like I said, like I listened to it right away, and it was as soon as I heard it, I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is like ready to go, like, so congratulations on that. Like it didn't take too long.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. They're so different from person to person. Is also how early you allow yourself to actually release something. I know like fellow producers that produce for like 5 or 6 years, and they still are not confident in what they are making. But I'm on the other hand maybe a little bit too upfront with everything I do. So I just wanted to get it out there, and it worked out just fine.
Yeah, I know we have like 10 songs already of yours on SoundMojo, with a few more to come in the next week or two. I also read somewhere very interesting. I wasn't, because like, I know you as Zanoii and like EDM producer and stuff, but I read somewhere you were also a singer before.
Yes, that's right. And I also sing on some of my tracks. I just got a microphone and I just started to like do stuff like that. Well, I started to sing when I was really young. I still got like a videotape from I'm 3 years old or something, and I'm singing. I think it's Barbie Girl or something in a hairbrush.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the beginning. And for real, I started to sing in one of Norwegian's best boys choir when I was really young. And I was there for some years, and then I started taking singing lessons. And from there on, I just sang a lot of classical stuff, pop stuff, and yeah, just what I felt like. And at some point, I decided that maybe I should start making my own songs. And then a friend of mine showed me a really early version of what was soon. No, sorry. He showed me something that came to be Avicii's Levels, and I instantly fell in love with that track. And ever since, I thought to myself, I want to make music like that. And yeah, I just came together with a friend of mine, and we started jamming. We didn't know anything about music production, but we still tried to produce something. And after a year or so, he didn't want to produce as much as I wanted, and I just started myself. And yeah, here I am.
I know you mentioned quickly Avicii. I actually had a few questions lined up for you. I find like listening to your music, I've always been a fan of EDM like for years now, and I find your tunes to be very summery, upbeat majority of the time. Like, my question for you, Jonas, is who inspired you really to become a DJ? I know you said you picked it up with your friend, but you mentioned Avicii. Norway is known for their DJs, predominantly Kygo, one of the bigger ones, obviously. Like, who was your inspiration?
Oh, I have to say, first of all, Avicii, yeah, that's a given. But also, I mean, Swedes, they're so good at creating EDM. So Swedish House Mafia also has been a really huge inspiration. And also a wild card, they are artist Zed. So Zed, yeah. So what I like about him that also is so influenced me is that he's more like classical driven, and he used this into his EDM productions, and I think that's super nice. And the later years, it's always or also been artists like Mesto and Mike Williams, and also Brooks and Martin Garrix, to mention a few, and also Justin Milo is sick. So it changed, but in the beginning it was Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, and Zed for sure. Yeah, that's what got me into producing in the first place.
And okay, so I have another question to follow that up. Like, what would be granted you're only 3 years in, very young in the industry and in producing music, but like, what would be your dream festival or concert to perform at if you could choose?
I think that there's so many great ones, but I have watched a lot of footage from Ultra Festival, and I also watched a lot of Tomorrowland.
Of course,
it has to be one of those two. But I think that my best, like, I've never attended to one of those festivals, either because I'm too young or because a global pandemic happened for some reason. Yeah, but I think that my favorite set was done by Avicii at Ultra. So I have to say Ultra Festival will be the absolute best.
And speaking of the pandemic, I was wondering, how did that affect you? Because it affected. We ask this question regularly on the show because obviously we're in it. So it's like, but we want to know how it affected you, since maybe you don't perform as much, and so how did it affect you?
Well, I thought to myself that yes, a global pandemic. Now I got lots and lots of time to just be creative, create music. But then life happens, right? And I started creating a lot more frequently than I did before. and it ended up burning me out a bit. So I didn't touch my computer for almost 2 months at some point, just because, yeah, I was a burnt out. It wasn't that I was not creative in per se, but it was like I felt like I didn't want to create music, and I also was afraid that, is this it? Am I going to stop? Because I also at that point had hit a plateau that I wanted my tracks to be more professional sounding. I cannot tell you what I mean by that, but it's just something you feel when you produce. And I thought to myself, I can't get any better at this point. And I was only 2.5 years in at that point, right? So, but yeah, that's really demotivating, and I know that I'm not the only one that can feel it that way. But yeah, after I got over that part, it was just creating tracks more and more than ever, actually. And from that point on, I have never stopped since. So the pandemic, yeah, it affected me in a way that I hit my first like slump. But after I got out of it, it was maybe a really good time to be a music producer, I would say.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd say that it was good for you to be able to acknowledge that, you know, that burnout point, because some people don't, and then it could lead to some more serious effects afterwards. But you pinpointed it, you acknowledged it, you took a break, and now you said, like, I'm glad to hear that you're back on the grind. You've got over that hump.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah.
You mentioned like hitting a plateau. I understand what you mean by that. Like, and it's always like someone else's stuff always sounds better than yours. And they probably think the same of your stuff, right? They think, wow, your stuff sounds so incredible compared to mine. But what did you do, or how did you get past that to get back into releasing music?
I think that at some point I just stopped producing and just went out online, reading articles, books, watching a tons of videos. I've done this since I started, but sometimes you just you have so many ideas that you forget how to actually like I got an idea how I want something to sound, but then I can't replicate that sound in real life.
Yeah.
So you just have to learn how you can do that, and then that's when you like get out there and try to learn new stuff. So I think I did a lot of that, and also I had a lot more fun. Because up to that point I used mainly presets and I didn't even tweak anything. Okay. And also with processing, what I used of plugins, and I started to be more creative with it, try to explore new ways to use it, and also new sounds and samples. I haven't done that before. Oh, sorry, it's my dog.
That's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that I started to just find out, okay, I know there's no rules in music, but at the same time, how loud is a bass? How loud is a lead? How loud should a kick drum be? And so on. And then that helped me a lot. And I had to get help from other people. So that's when I also joined a lot of Discord servers, and I started like joining Reddit posts. And also there's so many big like Facebook groups and stuff that talks about production every day. And you can literally just type in vocal production in a Facebook tab, and then there's 60,000 people in that group.
Yeah.
So free resources.
Yes, right? Yeah, and it took me like 2.5 years just to realize that there's so many people that they're on the same grind as me, and they.
Yeah, we live in amazing times when all that stuff is just that type. Because like I remember when I started, is like there was no internet. Well, internet there was a bit, very slow, but there was no like YouTube didn't exist. So it's like you either had to, like I used to just read books and magazines just to learn the techniques, the tricks. What do I need to buy? What should I avoid buying? Because, anyways, we live in great, fantastic times. I'm always curious is how do you know when a song is finished or when you're finished with a song? Is it like the way it makes you feel, or a certain activity or something? How do you know when it's done? Actually, I'm never satisfied, and that's for the good or worse. But I just have to decide. Actually, that's it.
I just have to set the deadline. Okay, I can tweak that. But like 0.0 2 dBs plus or minus will not make the track better. You just have to settle for a result at some point. And actually, one of my upcoming tracks that I'm also going to share with you guys later on, I think I spent over a year just to find the sound for it. And that's what I do with a lot of projects. I start with the idea, and then I just let it rest for some time, and then I come back to it, and then I do the same exact process. Because if I got a track and I know that the idea is generally good, I also have to ensure that it's good enough for release later on.
Yeah. Do you mostly do singles? Like, you're basically doing song by song at this point? Because like when you have, let's say if you're going to do an EP or an album, there's another challenge in the mastering, like you said, where it's like you got to make sure they all sort of similar volumes and all that. So like, is there ever a goal basically to put out a full album or something? Is it even worth it? You know what I mean? Because like today everything is singles based, right?
That's exactly it. At one point I actually thought about it, and I started creating one. That was an EP. I planned it to be 4 songs or 4 singles long, but one of the main problems at that time was I'm so eager when it comes to creating new stuff, and I was still evolving a lot at that point. So at the point I had created the 4th song, the first song is kind of outdated in a sense, sound wise. So maybe at a later point when I feel like I have hit that final plateau, it can't be any better per se, like quality wise, I might consider it. But as you also said, Joe, that the industry today is more single focused. I think for now I will continue to just put out singles, and like the benefit of doing so is also that you can change like the feel and like the theme of every song to be unique, and you don't have to like connect them or blend it together.
That's right. Yeah, good point. One question I like to ask all the SoundMojo artists that we have on is like, what do you enjoy outside of making music? What's a hobby of yours?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time when I'm not sleeping, working, eating, or working out, I think it's music. But I enjoy like taking a walk, be with my fiance and my dog a lot. So we hike and let's go out with friends, having a meal. It's nothing too special, but yeah.
It's good. No, any football?
No, not any football, but I do watch esport, and I'm very invested in that.
Yeah, I know that's a big scene.
Are you a gamer yourself, like a video games?
Yes, that will absolutely be a hobby. I have played League of Legends for the past 11 years now. Wow. So it's sad. It's sad.
Man.
I have played that.
What role do you main? Are you a mid laner or are you a top laner?
I'm a washed up jungler for sure.
Jungle's fun.
I like to run it down. I got a friend of mine at work now that he's really good at the game, and he is like, "What are you doing, man? You played this game for 11 years, and it's like you are like that." Okay, I see.
No, man. Playing video games is fun. It's a good way to pass time, and it's a good hobby to have, and it's just fun. You connect with people.
I use it a lot. Like I use video games a lot, like to sort of disconnect. Almost like as a meditation, to not think about anything else. I'm just thinking about this for half hour, an hour.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes I play more than an hour. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, again, then you come back fresh. Like you said before, you took that 2 month off, or you realized you're feeling a bit burnt, and then you come back and the floodgates just open again, and like, wow, you found your inspiration again. So that's why I find like the distractions, people might think it's a waste of time, but if it's not really a waste of time, like you need that separation to be able to continue and push further on other things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I was just wanting to know, like, we asked these to SoundMojo, like, how has SoundMojo, the collaboration between SoundMojo, helped you out? Like, what are the benefits you've seen from it?
It's actually kind of funny and at some point maybe ironic that the track Breakthrough was my breakthrough.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's all because of SoundMojo. I mean, SoundMojo, I sent a demo to you, I think really, really early on. I had not released anything at that point, but I can see, like, up until this day that SoundMojo has, it's been a huge influence on my audience, especially on Apple Music and Spotify. So I can see that. I mean, Breakthrough and also I Can Stay did really well on YouTube, and that I can see that those numbers, they just skipped right over to other platforms as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And also when because I also have sent you a lot of songs that I released a while ago, and some of them is also not on Spotify anymore, and that's because I think that for me they were outdated. But also I just woke up one day and that song just got a huge amount of streams over the night. And that's all because of SoundMojo. I actually checked the Spotify and saw that, okay, this song just skyrocketed. It has to be a reason. And then I went over to YouTube and I didn't get the notification on that release. Okay, that's the SoundMojo for you.
It's funny, man, because like I'm here in the lab and I don't get to see sometimes what you're and how it affects, So sometimes artists will write me back saying, oh my God, I've seen more activity in 5 days than in 5 years on my Spotify and stuff like that. So I'm happy to know that because, our goal is to help indie artists and to really promote indie music and stuff. And it works, like you see that people not only just come to the YouTube, but if they really like you, they're going to go check you on Apple and check you on Spotify and all that stuff. So it's good to know that. Yeah. So that's when you know you have a fan, because they did that extra step. They weren't lazy to just stay, okay, whatever,
I get, after SoundMojo, like especially after Breakthrough, I got a lot of DMs in my Instagram that was like, okay, you are Zanoii, I never heard your music before. I heard you on SoundMojo. It sounds great. Can I use it for that and that? And also I showed it to all my friends and stuff. And it's it's one of the many reasons I started creating music in the first place, like people just enjoying something that I made. I always had this rule that I want to create music that does not exist, that I want to listen to. And it's so nice to see that other people always or also listen to that music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I will be the first to admit I have a few of your songs on my phone. I enjoy listening to your music. So one last question, though, actually, before we wrap up. Where did the name come from?
Zanoii, actually, when you say Jonas in Norwegian or Jonas, when you say it backwards, it's actually Zanoii. Oh. And from that one, I just think that, a C is really cool. I want to use a C as... and not the actual C, but the letter as a logo. And then I talked to one of my friends, and he said, I can make something out of that. And he made the C, and I think it turned out great. So in my opinion, okay, let's go with Zanoii then.
Love it. So love it.
It's actually just Jonas backwards. But
I think it's a telling sign, man. It's a telling sign of your creativity, of everything. I mean, I really enjoyed this chat, Jonas. I'm very much looking forward to your more recent work. I'm looking forward to seeing it on SoundMojo. And I mean, just keep up the great work. And I could tell already you're off on a good foot, because you seem only 3 years in, and you're very creative, very astute in knowing what you want to do. So I thank you for coming on the show, and I hope you have the best success moving forward.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me as well. I'm also looking forward to share more music with you, and continue the good collaboration I always have.
Keep releasing those bangers, as we say.
I will do that. It will be fire from now on.
Awesome.
Shout out to Zanoii for being a great guest on Innersleeve, and shout out to Frank and Joe for taking over that podcast. I was over in Concussionville at that point in time, so they did a beautiful job handling it. What was your takeaways from talking with Zanoii?
Well, I'll leave Frank. Frank, I think it's your first time meeting him, speaking with him, and I know you were left with a good vibe.
Very strong impression. Of course, like you said, it was my first time meeting him, speaking with him. To be honest, like before even having hopped on that call with him and interviewing him, I have a few of his songs on my phone. I listened to his playlist on the channel. I like that kind of very summery, upbeat EDM vibe that many other artists provide, but that he provides as well. So I actually downloaded a few of his songs onto my phone, so I was a bit more familiar with his work going into it, which I appreciated. And yeah, a few takeaways is that he kind of seems like a natural learner, or it comes easy to him. Like he picks it up very easily. He doesn't get down on himself. He kind of enjoys working on things, and he is also, of course, a perfectionist, but killer work ethic.
It's like he's been doing it for 3 years. Like, think about it.
Fairly new into the industry.
Mm-hmm. He submitted a song to SoundMojo after a year of producing EDM and mixing it himself and getting it to sound. That's the hardest thing. Everybody can, a lot of people can write these songs, but get it to sound good, get it to sound legit so people can really, dance to it. And like we spoke, Breakthrough is his breakthrough song. It's the first one I published on the channel of Zanoii and promoted, and people just reacted to it. I was shocked about it as well. And speaking of songs, what we just heard at the top and at the end of the interview is a new song, his first collaboration with another singer, Thea, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Be Mine comes out today on all streaming platforms. So if you want to go check it out, support the artist. And tomorrow we'll have, on the 25th, we'll have the actual song on SoundMojo as well.
Beautiful. And we'll have that link down in the description, and at least in our comms tab, so that everybody can access that. One thing about Zanoii, seems to be quite self-aware. It struck me when he talked about how he wasn't really feeling it with the being overwhelmed by the web and such, and he decided to take a step back. Does that resonate with you guys at all? Because you seem to sort of ask more questions about that once he brought it up.
Not an easy thing to do.
Yeah,
an easy thing to do. They just naturally take that step back. People kind of have a tough time removing themselves from it all, but he seems like he's in a good place.
I've been through that similar situation where it's like you can go at it all day long and realize, and then get depressed and say, I'm not advancing or something like that. But I have stepped away from it a week, 2 weeks, whatever you need. And I used to tell myself, relax, give yourself time. It'll come naturally when you're going to want to go back, or when, so that's very mature, as you said, of such a young artist. One thing I also had was we always talk about releasing singles, releasing albums, right? And it seems to lend itself a lot easier to EDM, where it's just drop singles after singles after singles, whereas the rock and the metal stuff, we're all used to albums, up to this point. So it was interesting to get another perspective.
Personally, I know you put that poll up, Joe. I kind of like the singles approach.
Yeah. Me too.
I know it's a different conversation, but I enjoy when artists such as Zanoii, they kind of just give you little singles here and there, maybe once or twice a year, maybe even more frequent. Maybe I don't know how often, but
he's crazy prolific. Yeah,
I really like that. I don't know. I find it more appealing than a full album. That's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it as long as the music is quality. I think it depends what the songs are, but there's definitely a time and a place for them to come out on their own.
Yep.
Cool, guys. Well, listen, we appreciate Zanoii. We appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and click that little notification bell next to the subscribe to get real-time updates about SoundMojo. As we mentioned off the top, we got polls, community tab questions. We want to know what you guys want to see and hear on the show, and that includes guests. So let us know on those platforms. Also on social media, we're at SoundMojo on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Again, we're probably going back on MySpace soon. We got to cover all that reach. We appreciate you guys listening. Until next time, we'll catch you back here on Innersleeve.